Hello, my name is Jonathan Kim. For my Storyboard PSA project, I chose to do hydraulic fracturing. Hydraulic fracturing, also known as fracking, is a technique that consists of explosives which will then be followed with pressurized water, sand, and other chemicals like aluminum oxide in order to keep the desired hole open to obtain oil and natural gas. Some states that are prevalent with fracking in the United States are Pennsylvania, New York, Texas, and Virginia, just to name a few. In this presentation, I want to conduct a more efficient and cleaner way to frack in 2020 that won't affect large industrial companies too much while also taking into consideration of civilians' health who are near these fracking sites. With its advantage of being able to obtain more natural gas and oil, it has its disadvantages with surface and groundwater contamination and many more. Some of the obstacles that we have to overcome in order to see progress in fracking include being able to find an effective way to contain the contaminated groundwater, whether or not the water can be reused, and educating the people around the fracking sites. As stated before, the prime advantage of fracking is to access more oil and natural gas. It extracts natural deposits of oil and gas more than before. Therefore, it gives us a longer time to explore viable alternative fossil fuels when fossil fuels become depleted. Moreover, having an abundance to natural gas and oil will give us a better peace of mind and allow us to become less dependent on foreign gas and oil. Although it gives us more product, there are still several considerable disadvantages. The primary risk is the contamination of drinking water sources. Fracking not only consumes large quantity of fresh water, but also the water is subsequently contaminated and can become highly toxic. In most cases, the contamination can get so severe that the water cannot be treated by a conventional treatment process. Even though these risks can be managed theoretically, in the United States, water resources already have been contaminated due to negligence. Also, we do not know how the water will behave with the chemicals that are being injected to the ground since there have not been any long-term studies regarding this issue. A huge problem right now for the fracking process is EPA giving an exception to oil and gas industries to inject known hazardous materials unchecked directly into or adjacent to underground drinking water supplies. This is also known as the Halliburton loophole. It was perceived to come from the result of the efforts of Vice President Dick Cheney's Energy Task Force. This loophole leaves gas and oil industries to bypass the Safe Drinking Water Act, which could end up harming drinking water to the public if they are not notified. A major complication consists of the annual water usage for fracking. In the states that were stated earlier, the annual average water consumption per well ranges from 2.5 million to 8 million gallons of water. As a surprise, hydraulic fracturing has been used since the 1940s and became more popular recently. Most fossil fuels such as natural gas in America and Europe have been exhausted. As a result, the prices for natural gas and other fossil fuels have been steadily rising since. Although it is complicated and an expensive method, fracking has become more attractive and profitable, which is why over 60% of all new oil and gas wells are drilled by using fracking. Moreover, oil and gas companies select specific chemicals which are tailored to the rocks that they are being injected into as well as the condition at the well site. The specific formulation of chemicals is sometimes trade secrets. Dozens of children and young adults have been diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma and other forms of cancer in a four-county area outside of Pittsburgh. Ewing sarcoma has no known environmental cause, but the families there suspect that hydraulic fracturing played a role since they have drilled more than 3,500 wells since 2008. This isn't a coincidence. Please take a stand before it affects your family or kids as well. A couple of bottom-up solutions could consist of working civilians going out to protest to give insight and heighten awareness for others for their right to not have chemicals injected into their clean drinking water source, or even having the companies educate the families on how fracking could affect their own health. A couple of top-down solutions is having a requirement of using sheep piles. This will ensure that the water and chemicals being used in that site to obtain natural gas and oil won't spread elsewhere since the sheep piles act as a barrier underground. More importantly, getting the Fracking Responsibility and Awareness of Chemicals Act, also known as the FRAC Act, to be passed. This will then close the Halliburton loophole and it would require all oil and gas companies to disclose the chemicals they use during the fracking process. In all, the families will know what is being put into their ground and if they need to take any precautionary measures to maintain their well-being. Thank you for listening, and my sources will be at the end.